Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful NJ Gallegos. How you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing?
I am doing a lot better now. I am very excited to have you here. But before we talk about why you're here, NJ, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. You are officially a published horror author. Your first book, it is the first published one, right?
First published novel, yes.
Yeah. Your first published novel, The Broken Heart, is available now. And you guys know I had that link down in the description. You need to check that out. That's how her and I became in contact with each other. So, non spoiler, can you give us a little bit about what The Broken Heart is?
Absolutely. So The Broken Heart follows an abused housewife named Casey Phillips who undergoes a lot of medical issues. She ends up requiring a heart transplant, which luckily she gets, but from a serial killer.
Ooh.
Chaos ensues.
And like I said, the best way for you guys to be able to check that out is by checking the links out down in the description. Because not only do I have the links for the book, I have all of NJ's social media links down there as well. So make sure that you are following her on social media to stay up to date on all the amazing things that she's doing. Because not only is she a published horror author, she's a real life superhero. She is an emergency room doctor. All of you that know me know anybody in the medical field has the utmost admiration and respect in the Sledge household with actually being a respiratory therapist. So what gave you the drive and the determination to want to go through and become a doctor?
So it's actually a bit funny. The thing that encouraged me to become a doctor, I grew up on a farm.
Okay.
And we used to, back in the day, had to irrigate, like you had to move like tarps and stuff to direct the water because we didn't have sprinklers. We weren't fancy people. Um, and it flooded and it accidentally impacted a mama cat and her baby cats. And my mom, who was a medical transcriptionist, and my aunt, who was an RN, I brought this kitten to them. I'm panicking, I'm freaking out. I don't even know if they knew how to do cat CPR, but they did cat CPR and they brought the cat back to life. And I was like, I'm going to do that, except humans.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the rest is history.
Well, that's so rad. And I want to, again, say thank you for what you do because it's not just the people that you're in there working on and the people that you're saving, but all the families that get impacted by the hard work you do. You get to save someone's loved one. That's special. That's incredible. That's what a superhero is. So everybody here in the Sledge House, thank you so much for what you do. I know it gets understated and overlooked sometimes, but it's very, very important. So thank you for all the hard work that you do out there as well. So, NJ, in order for you to be a published horror author, horror had to start for you somewhere. So now I would like to go back to the past and talk about what it was that got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and NJ, your first horror movie was
Alien.
an amazing start to your horror life. Still to this day, the best tagline of all time in space, no one can hear you scream. So, do you remember about how old you were the first time that you had seen it?
I had to have been about like 5 or 6, I would think.
Very young to start a movie so heavy.
Yeah. Well, my mom eased me in because we would watch Star Trek, The Next Generation. I watched the original trilogy of Star Wars, through. So I had the sci-fi down, and then my mom was like, let's add in the horror, and I was ready.
Right. Well, and I love the fact, a lot of people to me try to make the argument that Alien is not a horror movie, and I'm just like, I think this is the epitome of horror. You're trapped with a creature that is monstrous, the epitome of horror, in my own opinion. But so we know that you were very young when you had watched it for the first time with your mother, which also kudos to mom. Thank you for being so amazing. Mothers everywhere, much love. But do you remember which scene it was that affected you the most from Alien?
That would absolutely be the first chest burster scene with Kane. They're eating the spaghetti. I had no idea what to expect because like I
I
had only really watched, like sci-fi, like Star Wars, Star Trek. Like, I mean, the scariest thing's a Borg or something, it's not that bad. But I'm watching this. I'm like, oh yeah, he's choking, and then and the chest burster comes out, and I was like, oh shit! Like it like blew my mind, just like it blew Kane's chest.
And it's still like what I love about this movie is it still holds up today. Like that scene is still so the anxiety and the fear, and then the bursting part of it, and seeing everybody else's reaction and the practical effects. Everything still looks so good today. Like I watching it now with my kids, I'm still like watching them, and I wish I would have brought it upstairs so I could have showed you. This is one of the few movies that I still watch. When I watch it, I still watch the VHS version of it, because when you put it on with 4K or Blu-ray, it's just so much brighter. And a movie like this is meant to be watched. We have to adjust the tracking just a little bit because it's so dark that you can't really see what's going on in those shadows. So I love watching this movie on VHS though, because it still gives you that grainy, dirty, scary feeling. So, an amazing scene with the chest burster. I can understand why that affected you so much, especially at such a young age. But do you remember which scene was your favorite scene from the film?
Oh, favorite. I really enjoyed whenever Ripley got pissed off at Mother and she's just beating, you bitch, because
Yeah,
5 or 6 years old. First off, I thought it was just like such a thrill to be able to listen to stuff with curse words. So that was huge
yeah,
for me. And it still, I don't know, it still tickles me for whatever reason.
because she's so hot. Like in this
I
movie,
mean, yeah.
it's just like she is the epitome of a badass, in my opinion. Like, I know that the term "final girl" can be used as a derogatory way. I would never use it that way. When I say "final girl," I mean it with just the absolute most respect possible. And she's one of the best. Like she's just so badass. And if I had someone on my team, I would want it to be Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. Like she's just a goddess to me. So I understand why, especially as a young lady, you're like, ooh yeah, get it,
Yeah.
beat that
Well,
ass. Let them
and
know.
yeah, let's go. But and obviously I was like cats were like my number one, concern then and now, really, to be honest with you. So the fact that she went back and she saved Jonesy, which I mean,
Yeah.
that's to me the most anxiety provoking part of the movie. I'm like, is the cat going to be okay? And she goes back, she saves him, he's fine. Happy ending, in my opinion.
Yep. Just stop it now. We're good to go.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
fine.
so this is a franchise that is huge. The Alien franchise has expanded so much farther now. Um, I always ask when we're talking about franchise films, we know that your first one was the original Alien, but which film in this franchise would be your favorite of the bunch?
Aliens for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, Alien, Aliens, Terminator, Terminator 2, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back. All these movies, if you want to tell me the sequel's better than the original, I'm not going to argue with you. I think that, um, and it's hard because I love Alien, I love Aliens. I love Terminator, I love T2. I adore A New Hope. I'm obsessed with Empire. So I to me it's a win-win. It's like, do you want
Mm-hmm.
a 9 or a 7 ounce steak? Either way, I'm going to be eating good tonight. So I do love the fact though that you're putting aliens out there so strongly. I love that.
Oh, yeah. First off, the one-liners, mostly Bill Paxton's one-liners are just like fantastic.
Game over,
Um,
man.
yeah. What was it? You make her the commander. Um, that and then my probably I would argue my absolute favorite scene in all of cinema is whenever Ripley's in the loader and then,
Get away from her, you bitch!
uh I it lives rent free in my head.
I can't tell you how many times in my life both of those, the game over, man, game over, and get away from her, you bitch, have come out of my mouth for
Mm,
no reason at all. Like just
yeah.
no reason. Like you're right. And this, while there's the argument of, well, Aliens is more of an action movie. Yeah, well, it's an action horror movie. Still
Yeah.
definitely a horror movie. Um, but again, I think that Aliens is such a fantastic follow up to Alien. It did what a sequel is supposed to do. It ramps it up. You had an alien, now you got aliens. So absolutely perfect way to ramp it up. Now, another thing I was going to ask you, Alien while we're talking about it being an ever-expanding franchise, we are going to be getting a new Alien film this year. So is that something you're excited about, or is that something that you'd rather just, kind of let a sleeping dog lie at this point?
Oh, keep giving me content, in my opinion. It's kind of funny because the first time I saw Prometheus, I wasn't super wild about it. And then I saw Covenant and enjoyed that greatly. And then going back, rewatching Prometheus than Covenant, like it added definitely a lot more to like the lore and things. So I'm here for Romulus.
I am as well. I think that I'm with you. Give me horror content. Give me horror content. Give me horror content. If the movie sucks, I still got the other ones to fall back on. It's not like you're erasing what I loved as a kid because you're giving me a remake or you're continuing the franchise. Like, I've always been in that boat as well. And that's why I'm such a big physical media collector. If you want to pull it off streaming, good luck coming and pulling it off my shelf in my dining room because it's not going to happen. So, I've had an amazing time talking about your first horror movie, Alien, and what that movie means to you. But here for a second, I do want to throw a little bit of a curveball at you. My little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, NJ? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
I had to think about this one because honestly, it kind of changes depending on, the phase of the moon, the way the wind's blowing. But the one that I have to pick, I have to go with The Craft. Yeah, love that movie. Love that movie.
Man, I can't. Again, you want to talk about things, and I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember, light as a feather, stiff as a board, trying to make that shit work when I was a kid. Like, we really thought, like, okay, guys, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna do this, and Britley, my cousin, is gonna float. Spoiler alert, guys. Britley never floated. Spoilers.
How many people were you attempting to have the float, do though,
right. It's only 2 fingers though. Come on, we can do this, guys. We can make this happen. So gosh, it's such that came out at a time where horror was really starting to get that uptick again. Like horror was starting to become, you had sexy people in horror again. It was cool, it was sexy, it was right in the Scream, Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer, when it really started to pick up and become sexy and cool again, which thank God it did, because horror has always been sexy, and to have people like that, just an amazing, amazing film overall. So, again, I want to thank you, NJ, for coming out and hanging out with me, because one, I'm very excited to talk about The Broken Heart and try to get people over to that, which is down in the description, as well as, thank you for all the things that you do in your personal life. Being an ER doctor, I know it's not easy, and I really appreciate that. And I hope that you've been able to do some kiddie CPR in your time as well. But before I let you go, we always bounce back to the same question. We're going to go back to Alien, and what we're going to do is rank this on a skull count. Now, we're not being critics. We're not going to rank it on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. All we're doing here, NJ, is ranking this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. NJ, what would your ranking of Alien be?
I'm gonna have to go with 9.5. Just because I think Aliens edges it out just barely. Just barely.
Sure. And that's absolutely fair. Like I said, these are movies that I think they'll stick with me, especially for the rest of my life. And I'm sure they will you as well, because they started your horror journey that is so dominant. You are writing books today, and I can't wait for what you have coming up for us next. And the way you guys can be ready for that as well is by following NJ on social media. All those links are down in the description. NJ, please don't go anywhere. I have a couple more questions for you. Everyone else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are down in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.